Hi, everyone. I'm Rick Zeiser. I'm the Dean of Admission at the University of Hartford, and it is my privilege to be the first to welcome you to the University of Hartford 2021 Scholarship Competition. A couple of reminders and housekeeping items before we get started. The Q&A box will always be available for you to ask questions either about the process, the scholarship competition day details, or questions of whoever you are listening to at that particular moment. Someone is always watching it, and we will answer your questions quickly. In a few minutes, you will be hearing from one of our students who recently won a scholarship through the scholarship competition, who's going to talk to you about her experiences here thus far, and remembering a little bit about how she felt as she was in your shoes on the day of the scholarship competition. You'll also hear from Dr. Fred Schweitzer, who's the university provost, and Claudia Oakes, Dr. Claudia Oakes from the honors program. Another reminder, this is step one of 3 components of the competition that you need to complete to be considered for the award. You will be interviewed by a faculty member in your field of study, which is also a great opportunity to ask about the program you're interested in if you've decided on a major. And finally, you'll be writing a timed essay in our e-platform Blackboard. Now I'm putting the web address for the scholarship competition in the chat box, and you can refer to that anytime you want for details or information or where to go for answers on anything that you're concerned about. On the screen right now is a brief little survey so that I can know a little bit more about you. So take a second to fill this out. And while you're doing that, let me tell you a little bit about the group to which you belong because you're with me, listening to me right now. As of Thursday, we had 12,277 applications for admission, 12,277. And there are fewer than 200 of you participating in this event today. And all of you were smart enough to do the math of that calculation to know that you are among the very best and brightest of the applicants that we have this year at the University of Hartford. And I hope that each and every one of you will be joining us at the University of Hartford this fall. You are distributed among 47 of our majors and come from 22 states and Puerto Rico. I was just looking at the group, and I want to welcome Florian Anderson from Albuquerque, New Mexico, who wants to study political science, and Maureen McCua from Katy, Texas, wants to be a pharmacist and is going to study biology. Abby Clark from Clarksburg, West Virginia, who wants to study exercise science. Juan Rosario Medina, who is interested in computer engineering technology. And those of you who come to school here, if Juan decides to join us, I would make an attempt to get to know him. He's from Caguas, Puerto Rico, which seems to me to be a wonderful destination for spring break. And finally, close to home, I'm happy to welcome Benjamin Chern from West Hartford, right up the street, who is here to study electrical engineering. So what do we have as results for this? Wow, you know, none of this is surprising. Many of you are working a part-time job or volunteering are involved in clubs and organizations. More than half are involved in clubs and organizations with a leadership position. A lot of you are interested in music, which is wonderful. The University of Hartford offers amazing music opportunities through the Hart School, even if you're not majoring in something in the performing arts. So thank you. And looking at the majors that you're interested in, there are future doctors and lawyers and CEOs and architects and engineers and psychologists and teachers among you. We are just so very happy to have you here. I'm reminded, having read some of your applications actually myself, you see that another privilege of being the Dean of Admissions is I get to read the applications of the students that I chose to read, and you are among the group that I personally read. And I am reminded of what a colleague once told me, which is when you are lucky enough to read the applications of students like you can't help but be impressed with your goals and your passions for your futures, and start to think about. I'm actually reading an application from somebody who certainly is smarter than I was at that age, and maybe still. Speaking of that, let me introduce to you Valentina Jimenez, who is a scholarship recipient 3 years ago. She is synthesizing peptide chains in one of her labs, and that's all the proof I need to know that Valentina is smarter than I am. So good to see you again, Valentina.
Thank you, Dean Zeiser. Good morning, everyone. My name is Valentina Jimenez, a junior studying biochemistry. I am a first-generation college student from Danbury, CT. Shout out to the 203. Fun fact is that I changed my major 2 times before settling on what I am now. I remember when I attended this event, I was so excited to get to see what UHeart had in store. It was a different experience from any other college tour I attended, seeing as I got to speak to faculty and professors really connect to them. It was interesting because it was the first interview I ever had with a professional adult, but I pushed the nerves aside and was myself. I ended up choosing the University of Hartford because the size of the school was big enough for me to meet someone new every day, but also small enough for the professors and I could build a connection. I love how I have the ability to go to local restaurants and try the multitudes of food around Hartford. There are museums, skating rinks, rose gardens, and so many activities off campus which are easily accessible. The amount of clubs on campus is unbelievable. UHeart has given me more opportunities than I could ever have dreamed of. I am the club and organization vice president of all the 100 clubs on campus from the student government. My primary responsibility with that has been to empower our organizations with the necessary tools and outreach to provide an excellent extracurricular experience for our student body. It's been one of my greatest honors to be able to work with all of these clubs and e-boards this past semester. I'm a resident assistant, which has sharpened my interpersonal communication skills and problem solving. I also work in a research lab with Dr. Rastid and have been since I was a sophomore. I've been synthesizing peptide chains and using the knowledge I have gained in class in real life experiments. I'm actually currently working on creating a lab for my peers to do in their advanced synthesis class. So if that gets finished and they actually perform it, I get to have my name written on a piece of literature and have students do my lab for the next decade or so, which I think is pretty cool. My long-term goal is to work as an environmental chemist and eventually in public policy to help establish legislation to protect the environment. With all the extracurriculars I have joined, I feel as every one of them has helped me and taught me important skills to reach these goals. I am so thankful for the opportunities I have been given at UHeart, and it all started with this day. Enjoy these moments. Each of you are going to have a chance to talk one-on-one with faculty members and meet current students. Take the time to ask questions and get to know the faculty. It's totally okay to be a little nervous. I know I was. Everyone here is so welcoming and wants you to succeed. Congratulations on your acceptance to UHeart. I hope to meet many of you on campus next year. Thank you for taking the time to hear about my experiences. This might be you talking in front of future UHeart students next year. Now, I'd like to introduce to you our University Provost, Fred Schweitzer, to share more about UHeart and the unique undergraduate opportunities you will experience again as a student. Thank you again.
Thanks so much, Valentina, and good morning, everyone. It's so nice to have all of you here. As Valentina said, I'm the provost and the vice president for academic affairs, and you may wonder what that means. What's a provost? I get asked that all the time. So formally, what it means is that I'm in charge of all of the academic aspects of the institution. So we have 7 schools and colleges. Each of them has a dean. I work with all of those deans to help them make the colleges the best they can be. What I like most about my job is that I get up every day and I get to think about how I can make this the most vibrant and exciting academic community that we can possibly have. And what's really wonderful about that is that I get joined in that effort by an incredibly talented faculty. I'm going to be talking to you more about them in a minute. You're going to be meeting some of them later. Really dedicated staff and a wonderful group of students like Valentina, who I met not long after she came here. And who through the course of their careers give as much back to the institution as they get. So we're really excited for you to join us. This is an incredibly exciting time in your life. Now, normally, if we were all together face to face, we'd be trying to figure out who had traveled the furthest to get here. So I know who lives the furthest away, although I was not great in geography, so I actually don't know whether Albuquerque or Puerto Rico is further away from Hartford. Isn't that terrible? But I do know that I had to drive a half an hour to get to my office this morning, so it might be I had to travel the furthest. Anyhow, you've got lots of choices when you think about college. So what I want to talk to you about is what I think is special about the University of Hartford. One of those things is that we really try to balance challenge and support. We have very high standards here for which we make absolutely no apology. You're already bright people or you wouldn't be here, but we're going to hold you to higher standards. The professional communities, our society needs really well-educated, capable people. When Valentina is out there dealing with peptide chains, and Valentina, you're still going to have to explain to me what that is, we want to make sure that she's doing it right. We're also, though, going to encourage you to take some chances. Rick was talking and he said, here's a student that wants to be a major in computer engineering. And whoever you are, there's a lot more to you than that. And your time in college is a time for you to stretch and grow, meet new people, interact with people that are different from you. And so we're going to encourage you to take those kinds of chances. We're also going to encourage you to take academic chances. Try taking a class that you don't know if you're any good at. Because you're not going to get that chance again. And here's what's important for you to know. Should you start to struggle academically, even though you are among the brightest students that are applying here, there's a ton of support here for you. We are not a university that prides ourselves in the number of students that don't make it through. We pride ourselves on the number of students who do. We are an undergraduate focused institution. And that means for you, small classes. It means an emphasis on active learning. We don't do a lot of lecturing here. It means that students get a lot of individual attention. Now, we do have graduate programs here, and graduate programs help us attract really wonderful faculty. But those faculty members all embrace undergraduate teaching. They all teach undergraduate students, and they all like it or they wouldn't be here. The other nice thing about having graduate programs here is that we're able to offer students 3+1 programs so that you could finish up a bachelor's degree and an advanced degree in 4 years or 5 years, depending on the length of the graduate program. So we have those in business, psychology, and architecture. Another thing I like about this university, and I think Valentina was referring to this, it's just the right size, at least for me. It's big enough that I get to meet new people. It's big enough that I get to have all different kinds of experiences when I go into classrooms and concert halls and things like that. But it's small enough that if I walk across campus, I will see somebody that I know. I will see somebody that I can say hello to, and that matters to me. This is a campus that is diverse in every way that you could think about that term. We're diverse geographically. We are diverse in terms of race and religion, and we have academic diversity. Some places you would find have a department, say a business department. When the university has schools, we have the Barney School of Business that's accredited by the national accrediting body. We have an engineering college that's the home of not only the computer engineering program we were talking about a minute ago, but also the new aerospace program, the new robotics program. We have an entire school devoted to the health professions, including a new program in exercise science. I heard Rick mention somebody that was interested in studying exercise science. We also have programs in physical therapy, prosthetics and orthotics, and occupational therapy. Now, those are graduate programs. However, what we do have is the ability to admit you to those programs as a first-year student. And then at the end of your 4 years, if you've hit all your academic markers and you still want to be in those programs, you are automatically admitted. You won't have to apply again. We also pride ourselves on having a wide range of programs, including programs that I would have seen when I was in college, history, English, things like that, but also programs for the 21st century. Nursing program, digital media and journalism. I mean, who knew when I was in college, there was no such thing as digital media and journalism. Computer science and engineering, and business analytics. The other nice thing is that there is fluidity here. There are opportunities, as Rick was mentioning, for you to explore all the schools that you don't decide to enroll in. If you're not going to the Hart School, there's an opportunity for you to get involved in music or art. One other thing about this university is we create a lot of academic opportunities for undergraduates. Valentina just told you a really interesting story, but it's by no means unusual. So I'm going to tell you a few more about research, publications, presentations, projects that our students, our undergraduate students, are getting to do. So Angie Perez is a junior. She's a mechanical engineering major, and she's working with one of her faculty members, Ivana Milanovic, on a NASA-related research project. Angie's one of 14 students that was awarded a Dorothy Goodwin Scholarship, and those scholarships are designated for undergraduate female students that are conducting innovative research or creative projects with a faculty member. Angie's going to be researching the effects of airflow at high velocities and how that impacts the body of an aircraft wing. Abby Myers is a senior, and she is a biochemistry major. She's working with Dr. Andrew Koob on a research project to find treatments for neurodegenerative disorders like Alzheimer's disease. Mateo Ramirez Webster is also a senior. He's a risk management and insurance major in the Barney School of Business. And you remember Valentina telling you that she might have an opportunity to write a paper with a faculty member. Well, Mateo has already done that. He's co-authored an article with Professor of Insurance Ken Goldstein on cybersecurity insurance. And that article, which was entitled Prevent, Respond, and Insure, was the lead article published in the Q420 Plus journal in 2020. Matt Glashoff, also a senior, is in the combined Bachelor of Science and DPT program, one of the ones I was just telling you about. And he's working for his senior honors project with our Division I baseball team to help improve the team's batting performance. Turning my attention for a moment to projects, 5 Barney School of Business students are currently working on a project for CVS Healthcare and Aetna, and they're assessing the needs, affordability, and opportunities associated with providing healthcare programs, coverages, and services to minority and women-owned businesses in underserved communities with a focus on the greater Hartford area. So those were some detailed stories. I could tell you stories all day long, but I'm going to just give you a couple of more topics that our students have done research on. Breast cancer detection, osteoarthritis, hypnosis to reduce pain, substance abuse, Parkinson's disease, documentaries about Holocaust victims, marine pollution, hydrogen as a fuel source, and I always stumble on this one, electronic tracking of water flow in Connecticut waterways. So that's students. Let me tell you some stories about our faculty. And if you like some of what you're hearing and you think, am I ever going to get to meet these people? There's a good chance you're going to be interviewed by one of these people as your process here goes on. So first, let me tell you about Kiwan Soon. Kiwan's an assistant professor of electrical and computer engineering. He's one of our most popular faculty members. His research interests include machine learning, computer vision, and humanoid robotics. His work includes building robotics architecture that's based on artificial personality and manufacturing a human interactive robot. Students can find Kiwan working with our industrial robot, Baxter. I have met Baxter. I'm 6'1". Baxter is bigger than me. Colleen Munoz is an associate professor of health sciences, and she is known nationally and internationally for her research in hydration science. And Colleen was just elected to a 3-year term as president of the New England chapter of the American College of Sports Medicine. That's a great honor for her, and we're incredibly proud of her. But what's important for you is that it connects her with opportunities for networking, internships, mentoring, and career exploration. Stefan Bullard is a professor of biology here. He's our disaster research expert, so you might imagine he's been busy lately. He is working on a manuscript about the COVID-19 pandemic. He's already got 400,000 words. And he is the author of a day-by-day chronicle of the 2013-16 Ebola outbreak, which describes in detail the daily progression of Ebola as it traveled across Africa, Europe, and the United States. Duffy Felmley is an assistant professor of prosthetics and orthotics, and he works with the Veterans Administration and Wounded Combat Veterans Project to improve the quality of life for amputees by creating special devices that will enable them to participate in physical activities. For example, he's developed a fin that will allow amputees to be able to swim. And finally, Catherine Owens directs our university interdisciplinary studies program. And Catherine researches many issues surrounding the environment, including marine debris. She recently spent a year in India on a Fulbright fellowship. She's been awarded a National Geographic Exploration grant under the Reducing Ocean Plastic Pollution Program to continue her work, and she has involved students in every single one of those efforts, including her work in India. Now, if you decide to come here, you're going to benefit from some wonderful new facilities. The Barney School of Business has a new addition. It's a couple of years old now, including an actual trading floor. We've redone our music recording studio. We have a new Center for Student Success. Right now, we're undertaking renovations in our science and engineering buildings, and we are building, you saw some pictures of this if you were here when the slide was scrolling, the Hersey Center for Advanced Engineering and Health Professions, which is a $58 million building that is devoted to innovative work in those two areas. So that's where you're going to find nursing, civil engineering, cybersecurity, occupational therapy, physical therapy, and just amazing new facilities for all of those things. And that building will be open when you get here. Let me wrap up by telling you some success stories about our students. Andrew Peterson he's in one of those 3+1 programs I told you about. So he graduated from the Architectural Design and Technology program in our College of Engineering, Technology, and Architecture, and he's continuing his education here to pursue his Master of Architecture degree. During his undergraduate career, he earned a number of awards and recognitions for his design work, including many student design awards for the Connecticut Green Building Council Association. Most recently, he was a first-place winner in our campus-facilitated bus stop competition. Stephen Root is a management major. He has 2 degrees from the University of Hartford. He is participating in a 4-credit internship remotely this summer with Amazon through our charitable giving project team. Now that project began when the management team at Amazon Fulfillment Center in Windsor, Connecticut, which is not very far from here, approached the university about creating student teams to develop a process for donating accumulated, unsold, third-party vendor items to regional charities. And that is just one of a number of examples of things that happen here for students in partnership with local businesses. And finally, here's a fun story. Recently, We had a graduate, Julia Peary from the Barney School of Business, and Kevin Weinheiser from the engineering school. The two of them got together and they decided to start their own company. So you may be familiar with non-plastic straws, trying to get away from using plastic. So they had the idea to invent a reusable straw. And so, of course, the engineer invented the straw, the business person figured out how to market it, and they founded a company called Use Me Life that's doing great. So maybe next year, I'll be telling stories about you. Maybe a couple of years from now, you'll be giving the presentation that Valentina gave today. As I said to you earlier, this is an exciting time in your life. It's also a really exciting time for the university. But today's about you and the experiences that you're going to have over the next few days. This is about you. So I want you to make a really good decision for yourself. Of course, I want you to come here, but I want you most of all to make a great decision. So learn everything you can. Have a wonderful experience, and congratulations again on your academic achievements so far. And now I'm going to introduce you to Professor Claudia Oakes, who is one of the directors of our University Honors Program. Claudia, you're up.
Thank you very much. Hello, everyone, and welcome. I'm delighted to welcome you all here today. I will be talking about the Honors Program, and I am happy to have a panel of students with me, so you all can unmute yourselves and turn your cameras on. One of the great things about the Honors Program here at the University of Hartford is that it's a fantastic opportunity to extend your learning beyond the already great academic opportunities that you have here. So we're going to tell you about opportunities both in and out of the classroom where you can push yourself in ways that you might not have even ever have conceived before. I've got seniors with me today, and I think they will all share their stories that they're capable of more than they might have thought they were as they started out, and how the Honors Program has helped to guide them and foster their professional development. So if the four of you could go ahead and introduce yourselves, that would be fantastic. Matt, do you want to go first?
Yeah, I'll start. My name is Matt Glassoff. My project was actually my honors project that I'm working on now. Fred mentioned with the baseball team. I'm a senior, and I'm in the dual degree program with health science, which I believe is turned into exercise science now, and physical therapy. So I will be starting the DPT program, the Doctor in Physical Therapy program, come this June. So I'm very excited for that.
Fantastic. Evan?
Yeah, my name's Evan. I'm a senior honors student in the Barney School of Business. My major is accounting with a minor in the business analytics. And the research project that I was doing for my honors contract was for my auditing class. We kind of looked at the Ponzi scheme of 2008, and we just kind of broke down the ethical behavior and what went wrong and identified all the red flags that led to that event happening.
Great. Eva?
Hi everyone, I'm Eva. I am a senior in the engineering school, so I am an acoustical engineering and music major with a concentration in classical trombone. And my senior honors project that I've been working on is actually a kind of a combination of a bunch of classes that I took through the honors program. So it's combining. I took a gender seminar, I took a class on video game music, and I'm an acoustics major. So combining all those together made a project that basically looks at character vocalizations in video games, looking for stereotyping of these voices and seeing if these stereotypes are harmful and do they marginalize players. Yeah, I'm looking at that from an acoustic standpoint, looking at spectrograms and things.
Really interesting. Fantastic. And Ayana?
Hi, I'm Ayana. I'm a psychology major, and for my honors thesis, I am looking at imagery, as in like mental visualization and memory, and kind of studying how different people's ability to visualize and seeing how that affects their performance on different memory tasks.
Fantastic. So I think everyone can hear the wide range of interests that our students are pursuing while they're here, and the journey. I think a lot of what has gotten them to where they are has been the steps along the way. All right, so let me share my screen here. 1 minute, please. All right. All right, fantastic. So we say that the honors program is 18 credits of excellence, and that means that there are requirements along the way that total 18 before you graduate, and we'll go through in a little bit more detail what they are. I think one of the other important things to know about the honors program is that it has a lot of flexibility built into it. We have many different majors and programs, and because of that, the honors program needs to be flexible to allow students to meet the requirements for their major while doing their honors work. And we think that's a real benefit of the program, that it's not rigid. Students have some control. All right, let's see if we can advance this. All right, so in year one, we talk about the immediate benefits of the honors program. Everybody takes an honors class in their first semester. These classes are not necessarily more difficult than standard classes, but you're in classes with our top faculty and like-minded students. So we say that in many ways, it's easier to excel. In the class that all of the honors students take, they have opportunities to work together to get to know people outside of their major, which we think is a real benefit of the program. Some students also have the ability to live in Hog Hall in a residential learning community that's special for honors students. That's a separate application process that the admissions folks will be talking about later. All students in that RLC take one class and again, have opportunities to do projects and group assignments and teamwork. And because they all live in the same dorm, they can work on those things naturally, down the hall in the lounge. We like to foster interdisciplinary thinking early on in your career because for instance, Eva mentioned, you have things to learn outside of your major, and being around those other students can really help to provide fabulous opportunities for you. Ayana, did you want to talk about an honors class that you took in your freshman year?
Yes. I took honors writing during my freshman year. And that experience, it was really interesting. There was a whole bunch of us from different majors, and we were pretty much just like learning how to write different styles of like essays, like argumentative and like, what's the word? Like creative writing and that sort of thing. And it was really interesting because everybody came with different experiences and different things that they wanted to work on. So we even got the opportunity towards the end of the semester to like pick what we wanted to write to finish off the semester. And we got to get practice writing like cover letters, different argumentative essays on like a topic that we wanted to write about. And the class environment being smaller than normal class sizes. Those regular class sizes are pretty small, but honors classes are even smaller than that. You can have like 10 people in your class. So it's very much more, it's easier to collaborate with your other classmates and like bounce ideas off of each other because you all have like more opportunities to talk to one another and interact and share ideas. So yeah.
Beautiful, great. And there are also opportunities to learn beyond the classroom. And this is really through all 4 years. So some of the things we like to make students aware of in the first year are opportunities like the undergraduate colloquium, which students will talk about later, but that's a day when undergraduate students across the university highlight the projects that they've been working on. And again, they're going to talk about their presentations later, but we encourage first year students to go to that. And it's really inspirational in it, and people get ideas and they're able to visualize themselves in a few years. In the College of Education, Nursing and Health Professions, there's a day where faculty and students highlight their research. And that's an opportunity too, to go and learn and get excited about what is in your future. And then there are a number of lectures that go on throughout the year. We had a great lecture last week that was open to everybody at the university about disparities in healthcare and how we can work, as a society to make sure that everybody's getting equal access to good quality healthcare. And most of the students in my freshman class attended that, and we were all really left with a lot of food for thought about how we can improve the system. All right. In years 2 and 3 in the honors program, here's where we see a lot of flexibility. In some of the colleges, students will complete an Honors 300 seminar, and I've got a student who can talk about that, and others complete honors contracts in a standard class where they do something above and beyond what everybody else in the class is doing. Some students do internships, some students do study abroad, which is an option if you're in the honors program, because everybody's got a semester or two where they don't need to be doing honors work, so they could study abroad if they were interested in. And then the colloquium, which we've spoken about. So, Honors 300 seminar. Sorry, I think I'm calling on Ayana again, because I know you've taken that. It's a popular option for the ANS students. Did you want to talk about one of the seminars you did?
Yes. I wrote it down so I don't say it wrong. I took Chaos and Complexity in the Visual Arts during spring of 2019. And when I registered for it, I had no idea what it was going to be about. I just thought the name sounded interesting. So I said, oh, I'll take that. And a lot of people felt the same way on the first day of class, because we didn't really know what exactly we were going to be discussing in the course. But it was really interesting. We basically would meet twice a week, and we would talk about just whatever it was that we wanted to, in a sense, because we kind of had the freedom to each, like, from the beginning, sort of set up how we wanted to go about the class, because we were each advised to pick a book from a list of books that our professor provided us with. And then it was basically connecting what we were reading in our book to a piece of art, or a piece of art, or like media. And everybody's is very different. I remember one student, his book had to do with like economy, and he related that back to art. Another student related his book to a movie. And we would meet every week, and we would just pretty much like very like free form, just talking about whatever it was that we were reading and what like stuck out to us. And we would base our conversations around that, as well as our professor providing us with some general information about like different arts, and how it related back to like science that was happening during those times that the art was created. So it was really interesting, because I never would have expected to like take a class like that as a psychology major. So taking the honor seminars, it really puts you in a environment like outside of what you would have expected for your course and curriculum to be. Yeah, it was really interesting.
Great. And we just had a call for proposals for professors to develop new honors seminars for the next 3 semesters. So lots of interesting, exciting new ideas coming to the honors program too. Evan, I know you've done an internship. Did you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so during my course at University of Hartford, I've done 2 internships, one over the summer and then one during the semester, and they were both for credit. So fortunately, I've been able to like take a semester off from doing an honors contract or an honors class to like focus on my internship for credit in order to graduate. And the internships have been very valuable to me because afterwards I have to complete like a 10-page paper on my experience and like basically show that to the employer, and they would basically go down the list of would you hire me, etc. So it's a really cool experience, like be able to do that while you're at school and then try to balance your school on top of work and then hopefully getting a full-time job out of it as well.
A great opportunity. And then I know Matt and Eva have both done honors contracts. So Matt, do you want to talk about a contract that you did in a standard class?
Absolutely. So the cool thing about the honors contract aspect of the honors program is that you kind of create your own path through this program, and it allows you to become a lot more intimate with the class. And so when you're ready to sign an honors contract, you pick almost any class that you're taking as part of your schedule, and you make an agreement with the professor. And most of the time, almost all the time, they're so excited and to have an honors student in their class and to come up with a contract, and you work with the professor of that class to come up with some sort of agreement that you're going to do to complete your honors assignment. That could be anything from a paper to an extra presentation in the class to creating new practice problems. And so I wrote a couple of mine down that I've done. A couple years ago, I was taking like an intro to sociology class, and my honors, I worked with a group of honors students. Actually, we did like a little experiment and observed people's behaviors in a mall down the street and how they interact with different stores. That was really cool. So something that, if you're not in the honors program, you would have never had an opportunity to do that. I did an honors contract for my organic chemistry course that I was taking, where the professor had me create new practice problems for potential future tests to give to students of hers in the future. So I was able to gain something out of it, and that's something that will affect other students for years to come taking that course. So really cool opportunity. And the sky's the limit. You can choose really whatever you want. And that's what I think is the coolest aspect of this honors program.
Great, thank you. And Eva, what have you done for an honors contract?
So I've actually taken most of my honors classes as like honors contract. That's kind of how I've been fulfilling the requirements. Just because with engineering and with the acoustics and music that I'm doing, it's so many credits. It's hard to shove in like honors seminars, which I did take some of those too. But it makes it a really easy way to kind of make sure you're still on track with the honors program while taking classes you had to take anyway. So that's really common for engineers. So I took both statics and dynamics, two of my core engineering classes, as contract honors. For my statics class, that one was super cool because basically the professor was like, yeah, write a paper on an engineering failure. So it's first of all a great opportunity to look into failures in engineering and like why did they happen? How can we prevent that from happening? Because I mean, you don't want, as an engineer, you don't want your bridge to fall down in your building. I'm interested in airplanes, so I did mine on that. I basically did a research paper on the Concorde and the reasons for why it crashed, why it went out of commission later on. And that was super cool. It got me really interested in airplanes. I'm still interested in them now. So we had that. And then my dynamics class, that one we did like little videos to explain things to students. So I would take either a practice problem or an idea concept, and then I would make a video explaining that, working through the problem. And the cool thing about that one was that I spent so much time in my professor's office hours. It was like every week, every other week, I was there. I was talking about my videos. I was talking at the problems, making sure I was going through it right. And I feel like that's one of the classes I got the most out of, just because I had this little extra thing I had to do for the honors program. And I was just there all the time talking to her about it. And so it was really great because I got to know her really well. And I also just had that experience that I'm like, I just know the subject material so well. And it's just because I did it as an honors, contract honors. So that was super cool.
Great, and I'm glad that you all have highlighted that those through the contracts and through the honors classes, you get to know the faculty. And I think that can really help prepare you for the final year of the honors program, where you're working on a big project. In some colleges, it's a year-long project, in others, it's a semester, but under the guidance of a faculty supervisor. And students do really interesting things. They also have the opportunity to present. Some students get the opportunity to present at a conference. And this picture was taken from a conference in Pittsburgh a couple of years ago. And that's a student from ENHP and a student from biology. And I just love that picture because it to me is emblematic of all the great opportunities that the honors program provides. So I know it's hard because you all are so invested in your projects, but in a couple of sentences, do you just want to talk about what the project was? This is the biggest challenge of all, to talk about this briefly, but we'll start with you, Matt, and then work our way down.
Yeah, sure. So what I'm completing for my honors thesis, so during this year, I'm working with Dr. Prokop, who's a professor of the PT program here, and she's been absolutely amazing. Like I've had such a fun time working with her, and I approached her about this, and she took it. She helped me with it, and we're working with the Division I baseball team here at Hartford, looking at their hip and trunk mobility, and how that affects their batting performance. More specifically, how that affects their exit velocity and launch angle in their performance. So how hard they hit the baseball, and at what angle it comes off the bat. And where we collected data last semester, I've started writing my paper for that. And in about a month, we're going to be analyzing our data to hopefully present and at huge conferences. We're targeting a conference in San Antonio for next year, and we're looking to publish that in an academic journal. So I've had a blast with it. I love baseball, I love sports, and I've been able to put it all together. It's been a really, really amazing experience. I like wish I could do it all day, but I have other classes. So
Fantastic. Evan, I know you talked a little bit about yours. Do you want to add on?
Yeah, similar to Matt, I chose something I was really passionate and love, and for me, accounting is my major, so I wanted to definitely focus on some research within that. So ethics is something I want to go into within my accounting profession, doing auditing and assurance. So I just wanted to go deeper into that because I feel like these corporations do have a huge responsibility to the people that invest in them. And we see so many times nowadays where these corporations are being sneaky and like other types of manipulation of their own financials. So I wanted to kind of go in there and see how can I help the process of working at a company or just in general of identifying and telling these companies to identifying the red flags that pop up and then to like help the shareholders and people that invest in them not be like tricked and deceived.
That is great, really aspirational. Thank you. And Eva?
Yeah, so I mentioned a little bit earlier kind of that I'm doing work on video game character vocalizations from a gender standpoint. But where this project came from was that I took a class on video game music, and then my final paper I wrote about the progression of female playable characters across the Assassin's Creed franchise, because I thought that they make a very interesting case study for how female characters are addressed in video games across time. And you can really see the progression of how the community has influenced, how they're trying to make things better. And so that's kind of where this started from. And I was like, wouldn't this be so cool if I looked at this from kind of an acoustic standpoint, looking at what is it about their voices, the like the grunts, the oh, kind of whatever you make noise when you like punching things, I don't know, those things. So like, what is it about those noises specifically that is kind of stereotyping women? There was a similar paper that I read on kind of Mortal Kombat characters that did a similar study on that. So I kind of just took that and ran with it. And I have a lot of ideas for it. I'm very excited about it, but it's just so great to see that like I had this idea for like a final paper and then being able to pursue it now. I've been working on this for a couple semesters. I started it last semester. I'm doing it now. I'm expanding on it with the acoustics this semester. So it's just so great to kind of be wrapping up everything I've done in college and making it into a presentation that I'm really proud of the work that I've done for it.
Yeah, and your enthusiasm is contagious, and it's. Well, I'm going to let Ayana go, and then I've got a summary point. But Ayana, talk a little bit about yours with the imagery.
Yes. So my thesis is pretty much looking at mental imagery, but in the aspect of individual difference. So how everybody individually has the capability of visualizing. So I'm administering a scale to determine how well a participant is able to visualize, and then giving them memory tests to then see if there's a correlation between how well you're able to visualize and then how well you do on the different memory tasks, as well as looking at memory retention. So asking them to come back and complete the memory tasks again, just to see if there's also a relation between how well they're able to visualize and if they're able to retain what they learned in the first time they participated in the study. That's what I'm looking at.
Yeah, and they're, 4 projects, so different, all so exciting, and all driven by the students, which to me is a really important part of the honors program. It's not someone saying, I've got this thing for you to work on for a year, I hope you like it. It's students saying, I'm really interested in this. Who's the faculty that can support me? Who's the expert on this that can be my partner in this year or semester long endeavor? And I will never say the honors program is easy, but it is not an unbearable load because it's something you care about, it's something you're invested in, something that's meaningful to you. So it is extra work, but it tends to be worth it. And people look back at the end and are so proud of the things that they've been able to accomplish. We have a nice event at the end of the year when we celebrate all the people who finished the honors program, and everybody year in and year out just feels good about what they were able to accomplish. And I think that is a great thing to be able to look forward to. Thank you all. And I have a little bit here about what our recent honors grads have done. So the first group is people who have gone out and gotten jobs. So people are working at great corporations and jobs in their field that they want to do. And then the bottom group is people who have gone on to graduate work. So depending on what your path is, the honors program can help get you there. And just in summary, I'd like to thank you all for being here today. I hope this has answered some of your questions. Think about whether you would be interested in living in the residential learning community in Hawk Hall, and that's a separate application. And think about what you might look like in 4 years. So I am going to wrap up here, and then we are going to go into a breakout session. So if people have questions about the honors program, we'll be able to answer specific questions that you have. And I will take this opportunity to turn it back over to Rick.
Thank you, Claudia. I'm always amazed when I listen to some of your students talk about what they're accomplishing and how they probably couldn't have envisioned that when they started, but here they are finishing up. 2 comments. One is I love Hawks baseball, so I hope that that research translates into runs scored in those key games, so we can continue the success that they've had over the years. And the other is when I listen to Fred talk about Julia and Kevin and the Metal Straw Company. I know Julia pretty well, and I'm happy to say that that partnership has created another partnership because they're engaged and they're going to be married. So you never know where these things are going to lead you. Stick with us now, everybody, because you're going to be going to a Zoom room where you'll be directed to breakout rooms in the for the topics that are listed right there on your screen right now. You are free to roam among them as you wish. So I will turn you loose into the breakout rooms. Once again, thank you so very much for your interest in the University of Hartford. I wish you the best of luck in the scholarship competition. And as I said earlier, I hope each and every one of you will be able to find a reason to join us in the University of Hartford this fall. Thank you very much. Have a great day and be safe. Bye.